So we're going to go over section 2.5 to 2.7 test review number 1 right now. So the very first problem, it says solve 0 equals x squared plus 2x plus 10 by completing the square. So if I'm going to complete the square, I need to get rid of the constant 10. That's not the perfect square. Move it to the other side. So I would have, I'm going to say x squared plus 2x plus, remember I put my blank, equals negative 10 plus blank. Now, the way I found the number that's going to be the perfect square that I'm going to add to both sides, I take my b, which in this case is 2, I cut it in half and I square it. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1, so I add 1 to both sides. Now the left-hand side will factor to a perfect square, x plus 1 quantity squared equals over here, I have negative 9. They asked me to solve it, so I'm trying to get the x by itself, so I need to take the square root of both sides. So I get x plus 1 equals, remember, positive and negative because I put the radical in the problem. The square root of 9 is 3. The negative comes out as an I, so positive negative 3i. And the last thing I have to do is move the 1 over, so I get x equals negative 1 plus or minus 3i. So that is my solutions. I have 2 of them. Remember, one is x equals negative 1 plus 3i. The other one, x equals negative 1 minus 3i. It must be written in this form since I have that I. Remember, standard form, the real number has to come first. All right, number 2, solve x squared plus 5x plus 8 equals 0 using the quadratic formula. Remember, for quadratic formula, I need a, b, and c. A is 1, b is 5, c is 8. Quadratic formula says x equals negative b, so negative 5, plus or minus b squared, 5 squared, minus 4 times a, 1, times c, 8. Everything divided by 2 times a, which is 1. So now I have negative 5 plus or minus underneath the radical. 5 squared is 25. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times 8 is negative 32. Everything divided by 2. So here I have x equals negative 5 plus or minus. So combine underneath the radical. 25 minus 32 gives me negative 7. Everything divided by 2. So I get x equals negative 5 plus or minus. I cannot do factor tree on 7, so the 7 is going to stay, but the negative comes out as an I. So I, square roots of 7, everything divided by 2. Those are my 2 answers. The negative 5, the I, and the 2, they don't have anything in common, so I cannot simplify or reduce that any. All right, let's look at number 3. Solve x squared minus 4x minus 2 equals 0 using any method. You can use either completing the square to make it a factor, or you can do quadratic formula. You know me, I'm going to do completing the square. So to complete the square, move my negative 2 over. So I have x squared minus 4x plus my blank equals 2 plus, again, blank. Take the b, so negative 4 divided by 2, and square it. Negative 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4, so I'm adding 4 to both sides. Now my left-hand side is a perfect square. I can factor that. X minus 2 quantity squared equals 6. Take the square root of both sides. X minus 2 equals, again, positive and negative. The square root of 6, I cannot do factor tree on that. Nothing's going to come out. So then move my 2 over. X equals 2 plus or minus the square root of 6. If I had done quadratic formula, I would have got the exact same answer. Okay. Let's look at number 4 now. A toy cannon ball is launched from a cannon on top of a platform. The equation h of t equals negative 5t squared plus 15t plus 10 gives the height h in meters of the ball t seconds after it is launched. What equation can be used to tell whether the ball reaches a height of 24 meters, and then does the ball reach a height of 24 meters? So the very first thing I want to do is write my equation. So they give me negative 5t squared plus 15t plus 10 equals the height. The height they gave me is 24. So to put the equation that they're asking for, remember the equation, I want everything to be on the same side equal to 0. So negative 5t squared plus 15t, I need to subtract 24. So 10 minus 24 gives me minus 14 equals 0. So that's the equation. So negative 5t squared plus 15t minus 14 equals 0. Now the second part, does the ball reach a height of that? It didn't ask me to solve it, find out at what time does it reach the height. So here, remember, I can just use my discriminant, which is the b squared minus 4ac. And now I'm looking to see, is the discriminant positive, negative, or 0? Right? So plug in b squared, so 15 squared, minus 4 times negative 5 times negative 14. 15 squared is 225. Negative 4 times negative 5 is positive 20. 20 times negative 14 is negative 280. This would give me a negative number, which means no real solutions. Okay? If there are no real solutions, then no, the ball does not reach 24 meters. You're going to write it out just like that. You're going to answer the problem just like that. Okay, let's go to the back. Number 5. What value or values of b will cause 8x squared plus bx plus 2 equals 0 to have one real solution? Remember, when my discriminant b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0 is when I have one solution. Okay. So I just want to solve that equation. So b squared minus 4 times my a value in this equation is 8. My c value is 2. I want to know, when does that equal 0? So I get b squared, negative 4 times 8 is negative 32. Negative 32 times 2, negative 64 equals 0. Try to get b by itself. So b squared equals 64. Take the square root. So I get b equals, again, I put the square root in the problem, so two answers, positive and negative. Square root of 64. So b equals positive and negative 8. Okay, so those are the two values, positive 8 and negative 8. For b, I could write the two equations. The two equations would be 8x squared plus 8x plus 2 equals 0, and 8x squared minus 8x plus 2 equals 0. All right, number 6, determine the number of real solutions of the system. Okay, so I can do this either by substitution or graphing it. I will show you both ways. If I graph, okay, so I'm going to graph x squared plus 1. So x and y, my x is negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. And this would be y plus 1. Right? So this would be 1, 2, and 5, 2, and 5. So I'm going to plot those points. So over 2 up 5. So here is my parabola. And then graph the line y equals 1. That's just a horizontal line through y equals 1. So I can see I have one solution. That one solution is at the point, this point, which is my vertex, 0, 1. But now let's do by substitution. If you wanted to see by substitution, because again, you would have your option. Okay, so by substitution, I have y equals x squared plus 1, right? My two equations, y equals x squared plus 1, and y equals 1. They're both already solved for y, so if I rewrite this equation, in place of y, I'm going to plug in x squared plus 1. So x squared plus 1 equals 1. I want to now solve this, so I get x squared equals 0. Take the square root. There's no such thing as positive and negative 0, so I just get x equals 0. So right there I see there's one solution because I only got one x value. Okay. When x is 0, okay, y, my equation, just y equals 1. Y is 1. So you can see I get the same answer either way, whether I graph it or do substitution. So you get to pick on the test which way you would like to solve it. Number 7. Solve negative 3x squared minus 6x plus 21 equals 6x plus 8 by writing a linear quadratic system and solve using the intersection feature of a graphing calculator. The graphing calculator shows that curve and line intersect at x is approximately what and x is approximately what. So again, you're going to either on the graphing calculator or Desmos, you will have your option on the test to use either one. Plug in the first equation, y equals negative 3x squared minus 6x plus 21. The second equation, y equals 6x plus 8. You will graph those two equations, right? If you're using the graphing calculator, then you will go to the calculate button and down to intersect, and it will pop up on the graph, show you where they intersect. If you're on Desmos, you just move your cursor and hover over where they intersect to get the x values. We're going to just go to, let's say, the first one, X is approximately 0.89. We'll do the 2 decimal places. The second one, X is approximately negative 4.9. Okay, so that is the very first test review. This will cover the part of the test that is on Monday, right?